Hey guys, Time Itself here. I'm going to play some Domination on WMD today. Now I realized I had not posted a game on WMD yet. That actually came as quite a surprise to me since this is usually one of my better maps. I guess I just got to the point where the next game played on this map was often better than the previous one, and so I just kept putting off uploading a game. And I finally got one that I think I'm happy with, and I'll go ahead and upload for you guys. So at the start here, I made a bum rush to B. Should have cooked that frag a little bit. I have Flak Jacket Pro finally, and I forgot about that grenade timer resetting when I pick it back up. So this is one of the classes that I feel is pretty much essential and I always keep around. It's an assault rifle with Flak Jacket and Marathon. Sprint to the points, don't worry about claymores, noob tubes, or anything like that. Just get there and then have the range to defend myself while I try to take the point. But on this somewhat larger map with some longer lines of sight, when I respawn, I'm going to switch to my M16 class. And that's just an M16 with an ACOG, Scavenger Pro, Sleight of Hand Pro, and Hacker Pro, and a motion sensor. And I am actually going to be slightly campy, although I wouldn't classify it as camping. I am going to stay in the same place in that center building, I think it's number 2, and just stay on the second floor and try to control as much of the map as possible. And that's how I rack up game after game, consistently good scores on this map. As my teammates push them around the map, I can just run from one side of the building to the other and have line of sight on where they're spawning and where they're coming from. The thing I find with the motion sensor is that the range isn't quite as much as I would like to cover both the outside and the inside stairs. So I have to take my pick if I want to watch one or the other and just try to keep an eye on the side of the map and the door that I haven't really got the motion sensor watching for me. Alright, I'd like to get into my main topic for this commentary. And that is, why do I talk about gameplay? I see a consistent trend in the community that says, don't talk about gameplay, the gameplay's boring. The game's already been out for a couple months, everybody knows everything that they could possibly need to know, or at least it's already been talked about on YouTube at some point. So why would you talk about gameplay? I think a fair amount of that comes from this being a first-person game. People just assume that it's more natural, more intuitive, and that you shouldn't have to explain what you have to do in a first-person shooter game. Now, if I just watched YouTube videos, I might think I was in the minority here, but this is not intuitive at all. Not one bit. More than anything else, just playing against someone else who's playing in first person is a bizarre experience for me. Anticipating how someone else is going to play based on how I would play, that doesn't make any sense at all in this game. I don't know how I'm supposed to play it. But, this is going to sound weird, but it's the reason why I play this, because it's difficult for me. And even after, I hate to say it, but hundreds of hours in game, I still rely on some very raw trial and error methods. Really pinning down the underlying strategy still escapes me most of the time, and I'm pretty sure, based on everything I've seen, most people really don't have an idea about it either. But that necessity for lots of trial and error is what makes it so hard to explain, because at some point it just becomes so ingrained that actually analyzing it critically doesn't really happen. It just becomes a this is how you play this game kind of thing. Now the problem with that is that when you come up against a new challenge, a new game, knowing what to do to adapt is much harder. And explaining to someone else how to play the game or what they're doing wrong and what they need to do to improve becomes even more difficult because you don't know what you're doing that works in the first place. So as with a lot of other things, the key test to know if you understand a concept and how to do something is to be able to teach it to someone else. And now you see that I really am very self-absorbed with posting my own fantastic gameplays on YouTube where everything goes right, for the sole purpose of trying to make myself better at this game. You just happen to be the unwitting participants in this little experiment. I honestly do hope that you find the videos entertaining and useful, but I do feel like they really help me a lot. Clearly, being good at this game is more than just good reflexes and good hand-eye coordination. Those things help. It really helps to practice a lot. I find that if I don't play for 3 or 4 days, I come back, things are kind of rough. Oh my gosh, this guy, I tried to knife him, but I just whiff. I freaking hate the knife in this game. The other thing about really understanding the game, knowing what's going on, is that, at least for me, hopefully I'll see less variation in my performance from one day to the next. especially if I'm tired or have something on my mind. I'll tend to play very differently than from when I'm alert and paying attention to the game. And when I'm playing the game, I don't really feel the difference. I'm just, playing the game, doing my thing. But then when I look at the final score, when I go back and watch the recordings, it looks completely different. That corner room is really dangerous. I only went there because I already had my Blackbird. But the difference in my play from one day to the next is really surprising. But I feel like if I could explain it better, if I could analyze the situation better than just my gut reaction to it, I would be able to play more consistently. But trying to get consistency, if you're not playing with a team, is really hard. Honestly, that was one of the things I appreciated most about starting to play with my friends. I put in, I got through most of the campaign, played some multiplayer on my own, kind of as a noob, because I really wasn't very good at this game when I started. In fact, one would say I was terrible at it. But when I started playing with my friends, it became much more obvious when I was having a good game, when I was doing things right. And so acknowledging that, getting that feedback immediately to say, okay, this is working for me, instead of playing with randoms who could be anywhere from terrible to great. Well, playing with the same team all the time made it much easier to analyze my own gameplay. The other thing was that when they weren't on my team, if I was hanging out with them and we were passing the controller around, they would get to watch several games with me playing, and they wouldn't say anything normally the first time, but like the third or fourth game that they're watching, and I'm making the same mistake, they would say something and be like, hey, here's a simple explanation to solve this problem, like lead your target a little bit, let them run through the bullets. That was a revelation to me. I was still a pretty good shot, but if you don't do that in Call of Duty, it can be really hard, especially if there's a fair amount of lag. And with HD capture and YouTube where it is now, it's less of an issue to actually, play in person with people. But getting to watch people who were better than me, or are still better than me, play helps a lot. And at least in those situations, being able to ask them questions about why they were doing what they were doing, well, that's really useful, especially, the immediate feedback of it. Okay, so the conversation is kind of one-sided in the videos, but I still hope it's useful. So I just kind of wanted to do a reminder that playing these games is not easy. It's actually pretty hard. And I still see plenty of merit in talking about the games and how to get better at them. Well, I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I look forward to doing some more commentaries, and I will see you later.